Everyone, welcome to another episode of Our Jacked Up Lives. Everybody, this is Sam Grillo.
Hi.
Sam is a graduate of Notre Dame High School.
Yep.
Is it prep college for?
Yeah, prep.
Not for young boys, not like Northridge, but something along the lines of that. So pretty much to get right into it, essentially, Sam and I have been talking about our recent obviously quarantining has been like very interesting for like everybody, and we've both kind of used it for similar ways to like I used it a lot of for figuring out like a lot of spiritual stuff really, and he says that he's done similar things. So Sam, what have you looked into?
Yeah, we've just had so much time on our hands. I feel like everyone has had to come out of here with something, hopefully. And I've just been, I don't know, I started maybe like a month into it. I was just like reading, I was just done with like a few of my novels that I was reading at the time. And I was like, all right, we have to pick a new one. But I didn't have really any topic basis to start off on. So I kind of just started, like, it was kind of a guess. I
Mm-hmm.
looked up, I was always listening to like motivational speeches online. And then one day I came across Alan Watts. He was a philosopher in the 20th century, and it was just insane, like the things he was saying, because like we live in like the Western culture, and we never like experience more of a Hindu style like philosophical approach, and that's what he did. He brought like the Hindu and Buddhism like over into a Western audience to make us like more attuned to it, and it was just like I've never seen anything like it, because like the Bible and like everything I've grown up on, because I'm Catholic, was so like historic and so like on the books, but this one was more like more freeing and more spiritual, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah, the way that he talks just has like a certain way of just like really kind of like freeing yourself from like everything that you kind of hold on to, because like he grew up in the Western world, so he understands what it's like to be like Christian and have that like because ever I saw this video the other day, right? It was this little girl who swore, and then immediately her mother goes, "Did would Jesus like it if you said that?" Or just some shit like that, and then
Yeah,
she automatically just like got so scared
it's
and
too
down on herself.
structured. Yeah, sometimes when I think
Yeah,
about Christianity in that way, they put it too much heavy on this like this structure and order, when really that's not really what we feel in life or how we like approach life, or should at least, I think. And I mean, I think you pointed towards this in a little bit of that story, how like we see Jesus as just such an authoritarian, like omnipotent, like dangerous figure
yeah.
sometimes, because he's like, because there's sin and there's good, and you always have to choose between the two.
I mean, one of the things that we learned about before you confirmed too was like you're supposed to have the fear of God.
Yeah, the
Like,
fear
what
of
the hell does
God.
that
What is
mean,
that?
man?
Why is that even a quote and like used daily? Like, that's weird.
I know, it's just like people are just trying to like scare
Yeah,
the living hell out of everyone, especially when it comes to faith. And it's like, yo, what?
that's.
And you can see that in like literally everybody,
I
right?
think
Who walks
that's.
around.
I read this interesting article actually, and it was talking about Christianity in today's light, and who today actually is still Catholic, who actually still believes in God. And the article is talking about how like we don't actually believe in God like the biblical sense. Most people just they fear that there is no God, so they believe in God. They don't actually have that faith like the biblical sense in like thousands of years ago, like how they believed in it. We want a God, you know. We don't actually believe. A lot of people, the article was saying, a lot of people today, they say they're Catholic, they say they're Christian, but they want a God more so than them actually believing.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to just like the way that it's been taught throughout, especially like throughout English speaking countries, and like the amount. Well, I guess I should just say Latin in general. But the like the way people tend to forget, that this thing was not only translated from Hebrew to Latin, then to English.
Yeah,
You
and I
know.
think a part of you have to think about how long ago that was, and
Mhm.
you have to think like those people thought in a more like I don't know how to say it, but primitive way, where they were not as intelligible as we are today, so they needed something to believe in, because they didn't know any of these laws of physics or any of it like that. So like religion back then it's much different than today. So it's very interesting when like people bring up the book that was made so long ago. It's like, well, that was such a different way of thinking about things.
Yeah, like some people are saying, that it's somehow against God's word to think that dinosaurs were created. It's like, no, like that's ridiculous. Why wouldn't you like why does that all of a sudden make you feel like, is your faith that weak that all of a sudden someone says that there were animals before us and you're like, no, that can't be true. It's like, no, like you just clearly don't have any faith in what you believe in.
Yeah, because like if you look at all, like that person's not going to say they don't believe in physics, and physics is along the same science as evolution and everything. So if you don't believe in that, then what do you believe in? Like, what do you think God made us for? Do you think He didn't make all of this science around us? He did. That's what He did.
And it's funny too because like what you're talking about with Alan Watts is it completely allows for all the scientific discoveries that we've made, and it lines up entirely with how human nature works. It lines up entirely with just everything in science essentially. It doesn't get taken away by what he's talking about, what like Buddhism teaches, what Hinduism teaches, and it's kind of like, sure that, I don't know too much about Hinduism. You said you were studying it, but like I don't understand the whole God portion of it. Like that's like the one thing where I'm kind of like,
Yeah, that's so hard to understand.
yeah,
I'm reading one of Alan Watts's books right now, and because he has like 43, and
which book?
this one is it's called The Book
Oh,
of Not Knowing of Knowing Who You Are.
oh, I'm reading that one too, actually. Yeah.
It is the way it's like it's a very good way if you want to like get an understanding like more of a Hindu style, like what they believe in as the God is like the ground and essence. He puts it as like the self. It's like all of us, like we are. Have you ever heard of the hide and seek game?
No, tell me about it.
The hide and seek game is it's like it's an approach to like a Western style of like Hindu of like approaching the self, the God that they believe in. Kind of, it's like a game of hide and seek. Kids love to play it, right? There's a hider and a seeker, but the way they put it is this reality that we live in. This is just the God, this ground essence, playing hide and seek with himself. So you're a part of this guy. He is in you. He's in me. And it's not a he. I shouldn't be saying he, but I am because it's like a story of hide and seek.
It's how our
But
language works.
we are just disguising ourselves in this reality just to play. It's like a game to us because we are just we're the only entity in the like the universe. The universe is us.
He put it in a really good way. Like the like Johnny listens to that song Dreams that he likes from Alan Watts.
Yeah.
It's like something along the lines of it's a chill step Alan Watts thing. If you guys don't know what that is,
It's a chill step.
Um,
Those are all over YouTube.
yeah,
They're so
great.
yeah.
But essentially it's saying like if you could dream a dream every single night, whatever you wanted, you eventually get bored with doing whatever you could, and then you would want something exactly what you were experiencing right now, something you can't control, and
You need surprises. You need all these danger because you were so bored of all the other dreams you dreamed.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I think he brings up all the fantasies like a princess and like saving a princess. He's like you do all these romantic things and you get to and you need something more, so you add excitement to it. And then you eventually get to where you are here right now with excitement, with hate, with love, and all of that in this reality.
Yeah, and it's crazy how some people just like they think that they only want one emotion. They think that they only want like to be happy all the time, or they only want to do other things. I know like my parents think that I think that, but like I know that that's not true. I mean, so it's like I have like a personal like enjoyment of I feel like I should try and be as happy as I can be all the time because why the hell not? But also it comes from like you need to experience the other ones too. Like if you don't have sadness, if you don't have like hatred or all those other emotions, maybe not hatred, but like, if those don't exist, then you can't have the other ones, and it just makes the other ones so much more special.
Yeah, the reality we would live in it wouldn't work if we didn't have hate.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have love, but we have to have hate. It wouldn't. You can't have love without hate. It's everything's a duality. Everything's in like a dual connection with something else.
Yeah, and then the two become one, and then it's all kind of like it weaves together. Like that's what yin and yang is essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's funny how we've never thought. Well, I mean, I know people have thought about it, but there hasn't been extensive like teachings of like combining the two or the two like sides of the world and what they
Yeah.
believe in, and that doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I think like that's why Alan Watts and like people like I know I listen to Joseph Campbell a lot too, and like those type of people, just kind of bringing in both sides of the spectrum, like all not even both, like all the spectrums. Like, that's why they became so popular, because I think that's becoming in recent decades becoming a new thing. I think it's so cool how they were one of the people to do it.
hmm I mean, it only makes sense, right? Like, and what's funny too is like if you go down to it, you kind of look at what all religions are saying at the basis of what they're getting at. It's all the same. It's literally all the same.
I heard this quote. It was like in comparison to seeing the God as a father figure. It's like a story actually. It goes, there's this story where an astronaut went out into space and saw the entire universe and then came back. And when he came back, people asked, "Well, what'd you see?" And then he told them all about the universe. And then they said, "Did you see God? Did you meet God?" And he goes, "Yes, I did." And she was black. So it's like a funny comparison, like the total opposite of this father white man, just to show you, just the story just shows you that like it's not any like gender or any type of role. It's just one being,
Yeah.
not a father or mother or anything. It's just one.
Yeah, man. It's just everything in existence. You know, people don't like realize that, man. It like I mean, my personal belief is that every single one of us is God. You know, every like it's so simple. Everyone is made in the image and likeness of God. It's something we've been told for forever, but we fail to understand that. Well, not fail to understand, but we refuse to look at the possibility of being like, yo, what if we're God?
Yeah,
You know?
because like that the quote you just said is one of the stronger ways of explaining it, but then you pair it with all these other father like stories instead of being like we are the actual painter. You know, like God painted you. Well, like what if we painted ourselves? You know, kind of
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, isn't that what consciousness is? Like us understanding ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we're just a collection of atoms that was smart enough to understand what was going on, and now we're kind of like, oh, and
Yeah,
we lose our minds because of it.
I've thought about like atheism. I'm sure like so many people have thought about atheism in this way, but like when I think about it, there's just no way that like me thinking these thoughts are atoms. You know, that's like the only reason. Like I cannot really agree with the atheist approach where like because I see myself as there's more than just atoms. You know, like, there's no way atoms are thinking these thoughts. It'd be so weird to me. That's all.
I mean, like, it's just like you ever look in the mirror like for a little bit, and then you're just kind of like you're just like staring at yourself, you're eyeing yourself up, and you're like what the hell is going on here? Like I see me, but
Trying to decode
like
the
what's
universe.
going on? You know?
Decoding the universe after a shower.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it is, man. Like it's funny because everyone has that thought where they're just like
Everyone does.
me,
Everyone
right?
thinks. No one. I don't think anyone talks about it as much as they should. But everyone has those thoughts, like intense.
I know. Like I feel like it's in human nature to do that. And it's funny because we just kind of disregard it. We kick it to the curb and we're just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Like what? I mean, that's kind of significant, guys. Like,
Got other things to worry about.
yeah. Well, people are worried about like doing other things that like honestly don't matter. You know, they get like wrapped up into politics or they get wrapped up into like I don't know, I guess making money too. Because I mean, let's be real, you only need so much money.
Yeah, but who has that much money? We don't have that much money to be like, who cares?
Yeah, I know, but like at some point I feel like you get there. Like if you have like a stable household, like it's very easy for someone to get to that point, especially in America, to get to that point of like having enough money to where you're just kind of like, all right, I have enough money, like essentially to raise a family, not necessarily to like do whatever you want, but like to raise a family, you know, and it's kind of, I mean, I definitely feel like if I had like $25 million, I could probably do everything I wanted to do, you know, like I can you can save enough of it, invest enough of it, you know, and to the
Probably
point
even
where it's
less,
growing.
dude. I'd go even less.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. But like I'm overestimating, and it's like some of these people who have like billions and billions of dollars. It's like I understand that you've earned it. Like, do you need it?
Yeah.
You know, like what's the point? Like I get that you're creating this thing. Like Bezos who made Amazon. Like that's awesome that you made it. Like look at this creation that you made. but do you really need all the money that comes with it? Like, shouldn't you just be proud of what you made? Because like that's what's so valuable anyway, you know. Like, but he like some people honestly like they create something, and then they're like so passionate about it, and then someone waves some money in their face, and they're like, oh okay, I'd rather have that, and then they lose their passion.
And then you get that frat kid response where he's like, well, most of Bezos's money isn't actually in cash. Shut up. So annoying.
I mean, even that, yeah, that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'm like,
You know?
okay, thanks.
I mean, he has the ability, like him, Bill Gates, like whatever, they have the ability to do whatever they want to, and you can tell that it's like something's off. You know, like if you have the ability to do anything you want to whenever you want, you know, you lose.
There's been some crazy statistics coming out about this coronavirus. How much richer the top 1%, top 0.1%
Really?
have gotten. They've gotten like I think the last number I saw was like they got like 400 billion richer
Whoa.
during the entire pandemic so far.
Whoa.
That's insane.
That is
Right?
absolutely crazy.
The only thing we've heard about on the news is the pandemic and how it's ruining the economy. What?
You know, people are losing their jobs.
What?
These guys are making like
Highest
so much money.
unemployment rates in how many years? And then people are getting richer? Like, what's going on?
But you know what though? I'll tell you what. I think the people who are losing their jobs right now are going to live fuller lives than like the people who are making millions and millions of money off of like, you know, old money. You know, like I mean, have they really even lived like a day in their lives? You know, like have you ever had to work for anything? Like have you or you've just been like participating in hedonism for as long as you've been alive?
Playing the game of life, and they're temporarily winning until they die. I guess they're just enjoying it.
Well, it's funny because it's
they
like
see fit.
people will like look at life and how like you know like we'll all die eventually, and they'll be like, oh, there's no point to it, like whatever. Like I kind of look at it as like, oh, there's no point to it. I can do literally whatever I want. Sweet, let's go. Like you know, it's I'm gonna die one day. It doesn't even matter. So
I
like,
mean,
let's
it
ride.
doesn't take far to get from one idea to the other idea. Like it doesn't take much persuasion in a person to be like, this is life. I have to find the most of it, and then a few seconds later they can be like, well, I might as well do whatever I want. Like it's they're not far away from each other.
You know, it's funny because I tend to think that's what enlightenment is. You know, like,
it's finding that how big of a gap it actually is from that idea to the other idea.
Yeah.
It's like enlightenment's kind of like seeing like, wow, those are totally two different things. If you take the first one to actually be what it is meant to mean. You
know, and it's funny because like we're having this conversation, and from what we kind of like touched on, like you know, I believe that like every single person in existence, every single living creature, even non-living even, is essentially God, right? So because of that, you know, it's us too, and we're just chilling here being gods, just like having a conversation about being God.
Yeah, what if we were right?
It's pretty cool, man. It's funny, and it's super simple too.
That'd be like, so ironic.
It is.
That'd be so ironic if we actually turned out to be this ground essence of God.
I mean, I totally think it is, because like what else is there in the universe? You know, it's just the universe. Like you know, like we are the only way the universe could ever experience itself. You know.
Yeah.
Like.
Definitely. I mean, I feel like now that you actually like we've talked about it in a good amount. Just like the entire idea of like Hindu religion sometimes is just to be ironic.
Yeah,
like,
man,
we're overthinking it. It's
isn't
so
it funny?
So tough because it's like one of the oldest religions out there, one of the oldest like philosophies out there, and it's got humor to it. Almost, it's got humor.
You go to a guru and they just fuck with you the entire time.
It is so cool how that much humor and that much irony is in one religion, and then you turn over or leave and you go over here in the West, and there's not much humor.
People treat it too seriously.
Yeah,
they think that someone's looking over their shoulder all the time watching them. In reality, it's just you.
It's just you.
Like, yeah, God does know everything you do because you know everything you do. Like, and you're the person who decides only God can judge you, only you can judge you. Guess what? It's all right in front of you.
Sometimes, yeah, the West just takes things too seriously sometimes. And when I say West, I mean the Christian faith, yeah.
Yeah, that too.
In a way. Definitely. I've grew up Catholic my entire life. Catholic elementary school, Catholic private high school. I can tell you, they take it seriously. I
know, man. Me too. I've done the same thing. The only thing I miss is college, and thank God I went away from the faith at that point.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know about your experience, but I didn't really learn about other religions.
Never. Well, I mean, okay.
Until high school when I took like world religions. That's it.
I never learned about Eastern religion.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah,
Never. I learned about some things in Judaism, and I learned about some things in Islam.
We learned
that's
about
it.
Confucianism and Buddhism in history class when we were studying China.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
all we learned. And then we
crazy.
decided to take 2 more years of learning about the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
I've learned American history at least 3 times.
Learned it in 7th
I understand.
grade. Why
I know
am I
who
learning it in
George
8th
Washington
grade?
is. If I want to look into it more, I can look at any history. Like, I can just turn on the History Channel. I can learn plenty about it.
I can read the first page of Wikipedia. I'm good.
Yeah, for real. That too. I mean, information is just like so like at our fingertips now too, and it's kind of making me think like, the education system has clearly been suffering for years and years and years. It's kind of like I think eventually we're gonna go to just like how people are making virtual reality like video games.
Yeah.
Virtual reality education. I fully think that's where we're on the path to, and I think that would
Imagine
be
messing
badass.
with kids in that How would you even mess with kids in that class?
Imagine showing them war. Imagine having a simulation that's good enough to make them feel like they're actually on a battlefield.
That's something else. I don't know.
I totally think technology will get there at some point, man. It's just like,
hey, Billy, it's Wednesday, Battle of Gettysburg.
Yeah. I mean that way they would all understand what war is and they would never want to do it, which would be fantastic. That's like one of the best ways for us to actually have a peaceful environment. I mean, damn, dude.
Yeah.
Like couldn't that be good for people?
No, yeah, that'd be an interesting idea.
Yeah. Also, I fully think the technology is such a really interesting topic too, because like I fully think we're making new life.
You mean AI?
Yeah. Like people are gonna I'll tell you what's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen?
We're gonna make AI.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna make AI, and then there's gonna be a bunch of people that are saying, "Oh, this isn't life. There's no way this is life." And then we're gonna advance and advance, and eventually it's gonna be close enough to be considered life. And then we're gonna have the same type of situation. Yeah, essentially that too. But essentially it's just gonna be like, all right, now we have to accept the robots, and we'll have like iRobot, how they have
Will Smith.
like slurs for robots,
exactly.
and I mean, it's I fully think it's gonna happen, man. I just think that they'll probably I don't think that they would care about taking us over as much, just because what do they want to do in the physical world when we can just make them their own world where they can chill.
I don't even know if that would be plausible.
Who knows, man? But I think with technology, eventually it will be.
I don't know. I'm more on the superstition side of all that stuff.
I mean, that's fine.
Because I look at it and I'm just like, I don't know. You're just all ones and zeros, and you can just take me over somehow.
But we're all just chemicals and atoms, right?
See, I don't know. Are we? That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you can kind of be I think at least, because everyone's made up of the same stuff, I think that chemicals and atoms are just a different way of coding. But I fully also think that we're the consciousness is God for this universe. So when people say we're in a simulation, it's okay, sure. All life technically would be then a simulation, we're just, because how clockwork works, when we're designing, when we're coding, we're creating life. We figured out how to create life in a new way.
I gotta figure out how to code.
Yeah, me too. That'd be so cool. I took one class of it, right? And I didn't learn a damn thing. There was that professor. He was not a professor. He was a high school teacher who
You took it in high school?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't
cool.
Coding. Again, this guy knew nothing.
Sounded like a college class at first.
Nah, I wish.
Yeah,
I probably should have.
Yeah.
But he just really turned me off from it. He was just awful at teaching it.
That sucks.
Yeah, man. He was old and he didn't understand a damn thing. It's pretty funny actually. They were
I'm an old person teaching coding.
Yeah, I know. He didn't know what was going on. Consistently we would come to him with a problem, and then he'd just be like, "Oh, well, you did something wrong." That was it. Thanks.
I've had my fair share of those teachers. I feel like everyone has, though. Yeah. Because some people you just don't mix with. It's not even sometimes they're a bad teacher. It's just sometimes you just don't mix with them.
I know, and that creates a lot of problems too.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to a couple of people who I know are teachers, and a couple of people I know are going into teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying there are kids that are great. They get straight A's. You give them attention. And there are kids that are going to prison. You give them attention. and then there's everyone else in the middle,
Mm.
and those kids just fall right through. You know, we
Yeah.
talk about No Child Left Behind, but that's that's just crap. You know, like that's just totally not true. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way that one person can handle a class of 30 kids, let alone like when you're in college and you're teaching like 120 at a time. But like, there's no way you can even handle like 30 kids, especially because like their parents can't even handle themselves. Let alone that. It's like there's no way you can give all of them an equal amount of attention, make sure they're all learning. And again, that's kind of why I think we're gonna go into that thing of the artificial intelligence mixed with simulation learning, because I think that just makes the most sense. It's practical.
Throw it in, yeah, I mean,
You know?
yeah, it's definitely gonna become more part of our learning year in and year out, and then I could see us like eventually getting.
See, the thing is like, people don't like. Okay, I always say people don't, but when I just say people don't, I'm using I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't think that like for a long time that I was skeptical of some stuff, but then I realized like there are plenty of people, like especially with like the whole. I used this topic like having a family discussion the other day. It was we were talking about like that movie is it Gattaca, how they were like rearranging people's DNA and stuff.
Yeah, I never saw that one.
It's fine. Essentially, they were just like rearranging people's DNA, like being able to stop like genetic problems or make like essentially it was like very fit kids out of nowhere.
I understand.
Yeah,
because
so
I've
like
definitely seen things similar to that.
yeah, I'm sure they've made a Black Mirror episode at some point about that too. That just seems like something that would fit right in.
Yeah.
But I just totally think that that's something that would happen. Like I mean, it's not like we aren't like trying to. We grew a human ear on a rat.
Mm-hmm. We've never successfully made life by ourselves, though. That's the problem.
I mean,
not AI. I mean,
what do you mean, like cloning?
Yeah, no, not even cloning. No, cloning we've done just from like
from nothing.
From nothing.
Well, I think we did with AI.
That's I'm saying. Besides AI, we've
Yeah.
never like gone into a lab and like made a cell. We've never made living like a living life, like just a cell on its own.
Right,
We've
just
never
like
done
combining
that. We have done cloning and we have done like the human ear on the rat, but we have never made it like on our own.
Right.
Which is a step like that's gonna be the next great thing, I think.
Do you think we'll be able to do it?
I don't know, because that would throw into a blur like a lot of things that I see as like creating life, but.
Well,
I mean, we'll see.
When you think about it, though, isn't that also just like
another
step?
Is it another step?
It's another step onto. No, I'm not even done. It's another step onto evolution and survival of the fittest.
That's where I'm thinking like maybe it's part. It doesn't matter what we do.
That's what the universe does anyway. So it makes sense that it'd be in our best interest to continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they get plenty of ethical issues and like, is it really right for us to do that? But like, I don't know if we can do it. Like, we can do it.
We got a lot of issues, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, I care about the environment the most. I would say that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many. Because I'm going to school for environmental science and journalism, and I want to go into environmental science, like a field of that, when I get out of college, because I want to at least be around like the fight for climate change or anything like that.
See, the thing that makes me really like happy is that we've talked enough about this as like a species for us to be like for you to feel that way.
But
like,
I mean, the time is ticking. We have, I think, 54 more years of oil and like 62 more of natural gas.
I mean,
from the reserves we have now, which is scary because like we're only gonna increase in population, and like the United States. I don't want to get like so political. You see like these like the United States subsidizing billions of dollars for these oil and natural gas companies, and we're not, and it's not even close to what we're getting these clean energy projects that we need to push forward, because nothing's happening in like legislative at least, and that's where the money to start up is going to come from. It's not just going to be these companies. We're going to need subsidies from the government if we're not giving them at all. It's crazy.
The thing that I'm not worried about with that is, remember the moon landing? About how all of a sudden people were like, oh man, like we need to advance this technology super fast, and then they were able to. I don't know when Kennedy said they were going to the moon by the end of the decade. I think it might have been in the beginning. But
it was when he. Yeah.
Yeah, it took him 9 years then to get to the moon. Like, do you think with like 10 years left of oil, we wouldn't be able to be like, all right, let's figure this out now. I think we're just
I don't know.
procrastinating. I fully think we're just
There's
procrastinating.
been times where we've done it that quickly, but it's for like single issues. Like we had that problem in, I think it was like the 70s when we realized the ozone layer. You know that. I mean the ozone layer at like the North Pole was was widening because we were using these the
The hole
CFCs,
in it was
the
widening.
chlorofluorocarbons. Yeah, it was widening, letting more sun radiation in, and it was melting the ice. And we realized it was because what we made in air conditioners, they released these CFCs at like a rapid amount, and we were like, oh no. And we realized in like 2 decades or something, this hole that was previously pretty small, and it didn't matter, like the world is fine like it is. And then within like 2 decades of everyone buying these air conditioners, I think it was fridges too, maybe it was like it widened like triple or and like the amount or something. And these CFCs stay up in the atmosphere for so long that it'll continue to ruin the ozone. And within like it was something crazy, it was like 6 to 10 years, everyone had new air conditioners. Everyone had this new technology, not releasing these chemicals into the air. It was crazy.
That was or wasn't.
The new,
Yeah,
the new ones, yeah. They created an entirely new air conditioner style. Like it was completely, the ones we see today are completely made completely different than the ones back then.
All right, so
And it was like that's what you were talking about. Like
Yeah.
we need to go to the moon in 8 years, 9 years. Boom, we went there. Like that's what happened, but it was at a much smaller scale compared to what we need to do for the environment. But it has been done before. You can look it up. It was like 1970s, the CFC problem. It was crazy.
man, it's just whenever people so far and again like obviously whenever we faced a problem that's like threatened our existence or threatened our way of life essentially.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, and we're going to figure it out until
we
until
know we
don't.
yeah
But
we know.
like so far we've always had something going for us. We've always kind of figured it out. We've had plenty of movies already, like just kind of what do we do if an asteroid comes in? We already have a plan. Like we don't. We'll have.
Yeah.
With how space like works or space works, how good NASA is, we'll know probably if an asteroid's coming for the Earth. Like
Yeah, they have like these updates.
I don't
NASA
know.
releases every like week. I saw one yesterday.
Yeah, there's
Like
one coming in
it
soon.
was like, don't worry about the one coming in soon. It's gonna disintegrate if it comes close. Like they're just
Yeah.
monitoring everything. It's like they were like, it's 6.5 feet long. It's not a problem. And I'm like, how are you measuring this thing 6.5 feet?
It's how far away?
Foot. I'm like, it's a half foot, and how many like miles could it's gotta be hundreds of thousands of miles. I don't know when it's supposed to come in, but
Yeah.
that's insane.
know.
What is NASA doing? That's unbelievable.
Like it's incredible. It's like, again, like these problems that we freak out about, like, and now like you know how good you know how like we're gonna have not control, but we're gonna have a plan at least for a new coronavirus.
Yeah,
Like
Trump just came out with his whatever 50 point.
I'm not really talking about Trump. I'm talking about like just people.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, no.
He can do he's gonna do whatever he needs to do to get reelected. But like I'm talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
like people who are like actually running the show. You know what I mean? Like actually
Yeah,
figuring out, okay, if things go to shit, this
Mhm.
is what we do. And now
Yeah.
these guys are gonna be like, all right, let's
know what?
go.
I know we're not going political, but this is funny. This fits right into it. He was in his 50 point plan he released today. One of the bullet points was give doctors and patients full authority over like emergencies. And I'm like, where was that? Like earlier in March. I was like, what are you talking about? Like he put in his plan, prepare for next pandemic, give patients and doctors full authority. I was like, way to sneak that in there.
Like it's about time, man.
Yeah,
Like,
I was like, what?
it's times like these that like that really do shake us up, and it clearly with how many people have just like gone through like battled their own demons during this time, how many people have like figured stuff out during this time, and it brings out the best in people a lot of the time, like times where it's hard, times where we struggle, it brings out some of the best in people. I mean, we got all of a sudden we have so many people changing their mind or waking up to the problems that a lot of Black Americans face, problems that a lot of minorities in general face. I shouldn't just say Black.
Yeah.
But it's like I didn't understand it to the extent that I do now before this all happened, and now I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, well, I'm glad I get it now. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I feel, well, I don't get it, but like I feel like I understand it more and can relate to people more, and it like all of this has created. It's going to create a lot of positive change,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand that we're going through hell right now, but we're all going to get so much better at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna be good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's something growing like this, something like taking charge in the United States. It's always like, it's always most of the time just there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I feel like you can't really stop it at this point. It's so big.
I
Yeah.
know.
Like even like politically, just resisting it just will just make it worse. Almost when you're talking about like Trump and how they're defending like so much of what the Black Lives Matter is against, what their Black Lives Matter movement is trying to do, and it's just like there's so much there's so much energy there that like
I don't even.
most of like the United States doesn't like what you're seeing like Trump and like the other side today. It's like so many moderates like don't even feel like that dramatic way like Trump is like yelling at the Black Lives Matter movement about. Like it's so crazy how polarized the United States has gotten in the last like I don't even know end of Obama maybe just
Yeah.
like 6 years or something.
I mean, the core message that Black Lives Matter is conveying, and that's the one in their name. It's Black Lives Matter. You know, it's like I feel like most people are really kind of like, oh, well, duh.
Yeah, it's
like
that.
of course.
It's like
I see the problem.
we're
Let's
looking
do
at the
something
other
about
side.
it.
We're like, what is happening? Like the people. Not. I'm not saying Republicans at all because I support a lot of Republicans too, and it's just like we don't even know who we're arguing with at this point.
Yeah, we don't.
Sometimes we're just like saying it, and everyone's like, yeah, and then like that's like it just keeps happening and happening, and then
It's because of social media, man. Like it's all because of social media. You go on Twitter and like someone might accidentally like say something wrong, like just convey the wrong message in a tweet,
mm-hmm.
or someone might read something wrong,
The world is not
and
forgiving.
then they just lose their minds,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll happen. That happens every single day, and then especially on the other side too, when some people are just trying to talk about like, like these are some issues that we're facing, and then someone on the other side is just like this is bullshit, and they take it out of it in the wrong context as well, and then you got those people that are trying to act like warriors, like the social justice warriors that are just like, oh, I'm so pure. Well, they're not. They don't mean that, but they're like talking like they are. They're
Yeah.
like they're giving that holier than thou like type of mentality, and people hate that. And it's not like they're even affected by these issues anyway because they're all white.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sorry, guys. Let the people who are affected by this talk for themselves instead of trying to speak for them, which by the way is like the most white thing that you could ever do.
Yeah.
Which is so funny.
It's all ironic. It's all ironic. Oh, it's just like I think we were talking about this earlier, not in this podcast or not on air, but it's so crazy how like we're so advanced technologically and we're still having these issues like socially and culturally.
I know.
It's like how can we be creating new forms of life, AI and all this, and still be taking extreme like polar opposites on like ideas of like gay marriage and even just the Black Lives Matter movement. It's just like how are we so like different in the way like intelligence is so I feel like when I look at like society in a whole compass in a whole in a whole globe, all of it together, that and like our intelligence and like AI is so much further advanced than anything else. It's wild because I feel like with intelligence being that high as it is, creating these amazing machines like we're gonna go to Mars soon. We've already been to the moon. It's like understanding laws of physics like that, but then like still arguing about like homosexuality and like
Yeah,
gay
whether or not
marriage.
that's right. Like,
Yeah,
like what
it's
does that even mean?
It's like where are we? It's
Yeah.
like what are we doing?
What are we really arguing about right now? Really, whether or not these guys can be happy?
It's
like
like
fuck you.
Trying to put
you
them.
kidding?
It's like yeah, I know it's crazy to me. I don't even know how to put it in words. It's like what? Just puts me like it's pretty much speechless when I think about all that together.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm.
It's a whole lot of just like us over-parenting ourselves. You know, it's like it's just a strict parent.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and it's just so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're telling people what they can and can't put in their bodies. We're telling people.
I mean, we have
like,
cameras everywhere
we
now.
have cameras
too.
everywhere. Everyone's carrying around a microphone like all the time in their pocket. Not to mention every single website search is being monitored. Probably not by a person, but like at least monitored. You know, it's like
All
I mean,
these.
I understand that sometimes you like maybe it makes sense to keep an eye on certain people because you never know what they're gonna do. But then at the same time, man, like we're totally like invading people's privacy. We're totally doing all
We're
these
doing
things.
that so much today at a massive scale that people don't even understand. And I feel like once we're adults, like every generation to come after us at that point is gonna just live growing up knowing and having this like person watching them behind their back, like that feeling, just like because you're always gonna be being watched. You're always gonna be like tracked on your phone. You're gonna be watched 24/7. By the time we're adults, I think there's just gonna be video cameras and just like even your own phone, just ways of like knowing where you are, your interests, even. Just,
We're living in 1984, like the book, but it's just a little bit different.
I started reading that. I'm only
really
3 chapters in though.
George Orwell's pretty great. I read Animal Farm recently. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I have not read that either, but
read that one next.
I'm interested so far. Haven't really gotten anywhere yet. Chapter 3 is still just like he's going to work or something. So it's like nothing much has happened.
It's still interesting though, like to see all that changing. But I don't really think that that's gonna be. I don't think that's gonna be like completely it, because let's keep in mind that you can never like in the system that we've set up. If nothing changes, if like our rights don't get taken away, you know. You can't like fully control someone like that. You know, like in certain countries where like they don't have the same, like all the same rights. Like if you don't have freedom of speech, like okay, yeah, I could see 1984 happening like in that country for sure. But like you know, if we got all this stuff that we're still like chilling with, like freedom to express ourselves and all that, essentially that's the main thing. I don't really care too much about whether or not a soldier can stay in my house, but but yeah, no, I just think that like that's really important to me, at least for us to always be able to say what we want, and let's not have companies limit what we can say. I guess they can do what they want because they're private businesses, but like you know, we shouldn't allow ourselves to be quieted, because if we allow ourselves to be quieted, we can't. First of all, we can't see the problems. We can't see the people who are causing like all this hate to come around. Because if we don't give them an avenue to let that out, then we can't fix it because we don't know it exists. And also, if we don't allow people to express themselves and say that hey, this certain stuff is wrong, then we also have the problem of having that 1984 moment where the people who are in control decide what's right and wrong, and if that ever happens, we are so screwed.
Do you have TikTok?
I don't have TikTok.
You've been reading about what's been happening?
Yeah, I've been seeing that. Data mining
from China?
It's supposedly just because China has our information.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm not like too worried about is like a new TikTok will come out, you know? Like it's gonna.
Yeah, I think
it's just like
people think Snapchat or Microsoft is gonna buy it.
Yeah. I've been seeing stuff like that. They still have some time, I think, before they buy it. This episode we're releasing way later than than right now. But yeah, no, I'm recording like a bunch of them, and then I'm gonna post.
Trump gave TikTok for like 45 days, and that happened like a week ago or something. 2 weeks ago maybe. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Wow, time flies.
I mean, I think someone's gonna buy it. Like super profitable. Like someone's gonna do it. Like that. Like that was a fair like move to make, I guess. I don't totally like want China to have my data, but like it's not like the U.S. government doesn't already like reading every single thing that I've ever done. Not to mention, I don't think incognito works on Google at all. You know, like I don't think any of that stuff works. You know, like there's no way that that's like actually real.
Government's tracking you. No, I use incognito. A mode set up by Google.
Yeah, I know. The people who steal your data on the regular.
They were the ones who made it, so don't worry. They're not going to be able to get in. The locksmith could not get into his own lock.
Yeah, no way. No
Yeah.
way at all. Like nothing's private. You gotta understand that everything that you say can and will be used against you.
Mm-hmm.
Like a baby should be read its Miranda rights as soon as it pops out of the womb. Like honestly, like that's just what the world's kind of turning into. And you will be socially like destroyed for anything you put on the internet when you were like 12 and didn't understand what anything was.
Wow.
You know?
There's such a. I mean, there's obviously a lot of bad things that have come out of that, but like a part of me is just like, oh my god, what if like a 12-year-old kid, like today you see that all across like Instagram, TikTok, just people, just like these 14-year-old kids just making like some dark jokes, but
Yeah.
like
They don't know what they're saying. They
yeah,
have no
they
idea
don't
what
know.
they're saying.
They don't know. I can see it. They're like 15 at tops. They don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I'm 21.
Yeah, I'm 20.
Not that I get
I'm
the
turning
passion from
21
here,
in 2 weeks, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no.
A 14-year-old? Okay, come on.
No one knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I learned from like bringing it back full circle, if there's anything else I've learned from like the whole like like listening to Alan Watts and all the things he has to say and studying Taoism and Buddhism and all that,
Yeah.
is just like you don't know anything, like you know nothing, like
I'm getting.
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, those. I mean, I've been listening, like I said, Joseph Campbell, Alan Watts. I've been listening to those people like that, and that has been so cool. And I'm actually getting. There's a quote by Joseph Campbell. It goes, "All the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you." And I'm thinking, and that's like one of like the best quotes I've ever heard in my perspective.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, everything's like inside of you. Like everything that you think of came from within. Like all these myths, all these religions, they came from someone's mind. Even if that mind was like a god, like form like Jesus, but it doesn't matter. It all came from your mind. And I'm actually getting that tattooed, so maybe by the time.
Ooh, where and why? Where and how big? Where?
No.
Fucking Jesus.
No, I'm thinking about getting it like not on my chest. I don't want people like seeing it when I like.
Yeah.
I don't wear V-necks, but like, but like, what if one day I did? But like,
Yeah,
just
sure.
right, probably more on the, like my left side where my heart is, but like not at my heart, like some Bible quote, just more to the left.
No, I got you. That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that idea. I always kind of like the idea of tattoos, but I've never felt like I've had anything meaningful enough to put on my body.
Definitely, I was not very into tattoos all of my life until about. I started thinking of the idea, like considering it, like maybe like 2 years ago, like coming out of high school. But then I didn't have anything to get tattooed. I didn't want to get it unless I really felt it. But I mean, I've had this quote in my head for like a year now, maybe like 9 months. But like, I haven't really wavered in that. Like my want for it.
That's good though. I'm glad you're taking time.
Mm.
Because like honestly, man, like if I had wanted a tattoo, like I was fully like
serious
I
consideration.
was fully ready to just like get a baseball like seams tattooed on my like elbow. Like how stupid would that have looked? Like if I was I'm 18 years old and allowing myself to make that kind of decision. Can you imagine how dumb I look when I was like 70, wrinkled, and just kind of sitting there with a fucking baseball just like, drawn into my elbow? Like that would look so stupid.
People are confused. They're like, is that?
Like I feel like a lot of people
wrinkles?
don't think about what they're putting on their bodies. But
No.
then again, whatever.
And again, it's all you.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Do
That's
whatever
kind of
you
the whole
want.
point of this whole thing. You're gonna die anyways. Right?
Dude, you're gonna die anyways. I'm not gonna name names, but my boss is so, like, I don't even know if this is a term, but it's like, I think I've told you about this.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
have. I remember
a
you telling me about this.
narcissistic, like, realist. That's the best way I can put it. Like, there's sometimes, I work at a restaurant, and there's sometimes when I'm, like, stacking beer, like, throwing out garbage, and she'll be there, he'll be there, who knows, it's a she.
Okay.
But, she'll be there and be like, Sam, it should be in like the alley, like drinking, because she owns the place, she's the owner, and she'll be like, Sam, let me tell you something. I'll be like, oh god, I really don't want to hear this, come on now. She's like, let me tell you something. Life means nothing. When your grandchildren die, you die. No one will ever speak your name again. I'm like, okay, come on. I got a 4 to 12 to do. It's 6 o'clock. I don't really want to be depressed for the next how many hours. Just came to work. Jeez.
Well, it's funny because like I think the same thing, but I think it's great.
I'm just sitting there like, what? And every coworker has like a story like that. It's so funny. But she's such like, I love her. She's an awesome person. Like she'll just say it bluntly. She'll be like, it is what it is. And I'm like, all right, but she puts like a sad twist on it because I think she has that type of humor, and it's funny.
Oh, okay. It's a
But
joke.
she says it seriously, but it's you just learn over time like this is just her. This is
Okay.
like so she's yeah, it's humor to her. Sure, it's funny,
No.
but it's still serious, you know.
Yeah, like it's how people gotta cope with stuff. Humor's how people cope with it,
It's every coworker has a story like that. Like, yeah, I was throwing out the trash yesterday at the tree, and I was like, oh, yeah, did she talk to you? Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you were saying that every coworker like thought
No, every
horrible things
coworker.
about life.
No, every coworker's like, yeah, I talked to our boss today. I'm like, what
that
she
sucks.
do? Yeah. Oh no. But no, she's a good person though.
That's good. I'm glad to hear. Like there are a lot of people who are like, who let negativity get the like best of them, and then they turn into like bad people. You know, like I mean those people just exist where they just let their own like. And I think that's the problem with racism too is like they'll let like their horrible past like it just turns into bullying, you know, like they're just like insecure with themselves, so they'll just like attack a whole amount of people, and it's like, why are you doing that again? Like, do you really have a reason to do that? Like, no, okay, you're just an asshole.
Get their mind off of it.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Like I don't know who says it, but like that's what they say when they say like people cannot like sit by themselves with their own thoughts. That's why they always have to be doing something. And when you sit with like those types of thoughts, like insecurity, you have to express it elsewhere because you can't just sit there and have all those insecure like anxiety. I can't have any of those thoughts. That's why humans just like panic and they go through those bullying phases or like they just take it out on someone else because they can't stand being alone with their own thought.
Yeah. It's really sad. It's like they.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's like a more sad way to look at it when you see someone bullying. It's like, well, what are they really doing? You know, because they're actually taking out their depression and their sadness on that other person. They're not doing it for fun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they're doing it because they don't have the strength to do it themselves.
Yeah, sometimes it looks like they're having fun, but I don't think
they're not.
I think it's very rare if they're actually having fun.
So that kind of makes you question like how miserable are these people that like, you know, like do horrible things to kids or do like.
That's like a whole nother.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother level. It's like. It's just like because like those people fully exist, you know, that like do those awful things to children, and it's like whoa, you know, like how messed up are they? How much help do they need?
Yeah, is it even help at that point, or is it just like?
I'd like to think it's help. I would really like to.
You would like to.
But that's like the very optimistic side of me because like maybe these people are too far gone, but.
That's an interesting. Like psychological standpoint, because I don't know if I would ever. I've read some stories everyone has just of these nasty people, just like serial killers or anything like that. It's like how, like, is there even a point to helping them?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to sound so narcissistic.
I understand the whole thing of like not killing them, because
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think that anybody should take life.
I don't think we should take like life either.
But like, you know, it's. Like, you know, they're supposed to be the judge of themselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So, like, in the sense of, like, if those people are God, too, like what I was saying earlier, and they're the ones who get to judge themselves, like...
Yeah.
Like, really?
I feel like if I could have a conversation with someone, they could come close to convincing me maybe the death penalty is a good thing in points, but I feel like at the end of the day, I'd probably always be like, no, I don't believe it.
Yeah. I want to believe that everybody's redeemable. But I also, you know, people bring up like points like Hitler, like is that guy? Do you think that guy's too far gone? He killed like 6-7 million people.
Exactly, that's like
people like Stalin too did the same damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's committed genocide, you know, been leader of that. It's like I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. That's up for God to choose, not me. You know, it's kind of like it's unfathomable to think that he just like. You know, like Hitler signed some papers, and all of a sudden he just signed the death order for like 5 million people. You know, like
that's like
what?
That's like the stuff no one ever thinks about.
Yeah.
Because you can't. Like, how do you even start to think about that person? Like, I don't even. Like, no one. Like, how do you even today look
back
and
like
understand? Yeah, it's just so many layers.
It's ridiculous, man. But like, I don't know. It's not up for me to decide.
We still don't know.
I'm just chilling here,
thousands
having
thousands
fun,
of years later.
talking into a microphone in my parents' basement. You know, like I'm doing okay.
I think I'm doing just fine for
Yeah,
now.
for real.
Mhm.
All right, well, it has been like about an hour.
Has it been?
Yeah,
Wow.
man, it's been quick. It's been a very
Wow.
good episode.
Yeah, I had
It's
no
definitely
idea.
the deepest we've gotten on an episode before.
I hope that's
But
all right. I guess we
no,
can't really
I
take
mean,
it
I
back.
love it. I love it, man. This is
Yeah, it was great to be here, though. It
yeah,
was cool.
appreciate it. I hope to have you on again.
Yeah, it was a
A lot
great
of fun.
time.
A lot of fun. Okay.
Well,
Thank you guys all for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment if you want to. Yeah. See you.
see ya.